So why do we suffer with lower back pain? It's actually quite simple to understand. On a daily basis, we put our spine through a tremendous amount of stress. The way we sit, the way we walk, the way we pick things up off the ground, the way we drive, all of this accumulates, and if it exceeds your tolerance level or the tolerance that your lower back has, you will experience lower back pain. To help you understand a bit better, think of why we put on excess body fat. We do so because we exceed the number of calories the body needs for survival. Those excess calories are stored as body fat. You can apply those same economics to why we have back pain. All we do is we have exceeded our tolerance level. So the spine, especially the lower back, can only take so much stress. When that stress level is exceeded, our body responds with pain. So this level here represents your tolerance level. So this is the current level of muscular endurance that you have. If you exceed this tolerance line, you will have back pain. So this is 100%, meaning that if you were here, you are currently operating at 100% of your kind of tolerance level. Because you have back pain, it's more likely 50 to 60% of your maximum efficiency. Okay, so this is your tolerance line, and this is your day, and this is what happens. If you wake up in the morning and do yoga and do back bending and forward folds, you are contributing to the stress in your lower back because your discs are hydrated overnight and they don't respond very well to being bent forward and backwards. So you kind of bring yourself close towards your tolerance level, but it may not, and through breakfast, recovery, you might find it starts to drop down. Then you drive for hours at a time, and because driving adds to our poor posture and makes our lower back work unnecessarily, you may find yourself creeping up towards your tolerance line. Then you may get out and go for a walk, and it might be doing this or you might be doing that. Then you have a meeting and you sit down, poor posture again, and it starts to creep up towards a tolerance. It might be there, it might be there, and it might drop, and then suddenly you take paper out of the printer and you exceed your tolerance line, and this here is the point of pain. And then you tell your osteopath or your physical therapist that you hurt your back getting paper out of a printer, or when I was just hoovering the lounge. That's not when you hurt your back. The accumulation of your previous, of all the behavior previously led up to that moment where you hurt your back. If you hurt your back in the morning, if you do something very simple in the morning, like go for a walk, etc., and then you go to work and boom, exceeded your tolerance. And you might be surprised, that might only be 12 p.m. It might be 11 a.m. and you're wondering, well, why have I hurt my back so early in the day? It's simply because the load has accumulated over days and your recovery hasn't been sufficient enough. So you've actually started the morning with your tolerance level even lower than it would normally be. I hope that helps you better understand that the load you apply or the stress you apply on your lower back during the day has to be below your tolerance level. If it stays below all day long and then you sleep and you recover, if it stays there, then you won't experience back pain. But of course, if it fluctuates and goes high, you will have back pain. It's the most basic economics of life. So based on those very simple economics, how can we fix our lower back? It's simple really. There are two strategies, and the first one is obvious based on what I've just said. So if you exceed your tolerance level, it would make sense to increase that tolerance level. So that's pretty straightforward in theory, but how do we improve the endurance of our core muscles so they can protect our lower back through the day? Well, we achieve that by doing exercises that are going to challenge the efficiency and the durability of our core muscles without putting them under too much stress at the same time. So think of a side plank, think of a regular plank. You can add the bird dog exercise in there, which is a great strengthener for the lower back. And then we look to integrating those movements into big compound exercises, which will improve the efficiency and the durability of your lower back muscles. So notice I haven't mentioned stretching your lower back. Stretching your lower back adds to the very stress that we are trying to eliminate or manage. You need to improve the tolerance and the endurance of your lower back by doing endurance-based exercises, not by stretching. Stretching and yoga for lower back pain is very, very misunderstood. The stretching should be applied to the hips, which can take stress off the lower back, but you definitely don't need to do a forward fold based stretch to improve your lower back function. It will add to the stress. It's the biggest misconception in the yoga world that stretching your lower back will improve lower back pain. So the first strategy is to improve the efficiency and endurance of your core muscles so you increase your tolerance, meaning that you can simply tolerate more stress. But logically, why don't we just remove the stresses that you're placing on the lower back in the first place? That is strategy number 2, and that forms the main focus of this video. All the endurance-based exercises, all the side planks and bird dogs, so all the exercises designed to develop core endurance and strength, is not going to help you if on a daily basis you are continuing to put unnecessary stress on the spine that will eventually exceed your tolerance level. In my experience of dealing with clients who are experiencing lower back pain, there are 3 movement patterns that they are doing on a daily basis that are accumulating and adding unnecessary stress on their spine. Their body eventually responds in pain. I have trained hundreds of clients in the past with lower back pain who have been referred to me from a physio or an osteopath, and they've asked me to help them strengthen their core muscles. The first thing I observe when I see these clients is the way they get up off a chair. Now, all the strength-based exercises that I give them is not going to help them if they're continuing to make these negative movement patterns. So when I meet most of my clients, we will sit down and we will have a basic discussion on what it is that I can help them with. What I notice when I ask them to stand up is they do this. That really is not the way you want to stand up. If you do that consistently and constantly, this will add to the stress in your lower back and you will end up with lower back pain. So the remedy is this. Most people are sat with their feet too close. So when you get up, you have to flex round your back, which you want to avoid, and they're using your lower back to lift themselves up. And so many times I have a client get up who ends up holding their lower back. And think of the number of times that you do that on a daily basis. It is incredible. So this is what you actually need to do. You need to take your feet wider, lift your chest, and then bring yourself up like this. So all I've done is I've used my hands to assist me in keeping my back straight, and I've used my legs and my hips to push up into a standing position. Now, I have a history of back pain, as most of you know by now. If I do it wrong, I'm not going to demo it too much because it will hurt my back. If I do this, I can feel my lower back working when it shouldn't. When I do this, so feet wide, chest up, nothing. It is the best way to stand up and to preserve the integrity of your lower back. it's going to be hard to make that a new movement pattern for you. Now, the body is very, very lazy. The body wants to seek the path of least resistance. It wants to preserve energy for when you might need it later. So this seems like the easiest thing to do, but it is wasting your lower back away, and you want to preserve your lower back for as long as you can for obvious reasons. So finally, again, feet wide, chest up, your back is in its natural neutral position, and you just lift yourself up. And if you can make that a new everyday movement pattern, you really will decrease the stress you are placing on your spine, meaning you will fix your back pain. The second kind of biggest or major contribution to lower back pain is the way you kind of present yourself when you are brushing your teeth or washing your hands. Now, I will go to the loos with one of my clients. I'll go in there to wash my hands, same as he will, and this is what I notice. You can see how much I'm rounding my back, washing my hands under the basin, and then they always get up very awkwardly and uncomfortably. Now, I haven't observed this, but I guarantee at home they do the same thing in the mirror when they're brushing their teeth. And again, this poor movement pattern will accumulate and build up, and if you're also adding on the first factor, which is the way we stand up, you are massively stressing your spine when it doesn't need to be stressed. This is what I discovered because my back was so bad, I had to find a way to brush my teeth without hurting my lower back. I would stick my backside out, rest my hand against the wall, knowing that my lower back is straight, take a big breath out, and then all my core muscles would relax completely because my arm is taking the load, and then I would brush my teeth. When I finished, I would stand up without any lower back pain. When I wash my hands, I bend my knees forward. It's harder. It's harder on your body because you're asking your hips and your legs and all the other muscles to work, when it's easier for you just to do this. But easier is not better. Remember, your body is seeking the path of least resistance. It wants to save energy. That's what it does all day long. So you have to change your instinctive physical behavior from rounding when you're brushing your teeth and washing your hands to sticking your backside out, finding a neutral spine and trying to hold on to something so your lower back is not working. Take a big breath out and you will feel your core muscles relax. It is as simple as that. The third major, biggest contributor to lower back pain is the way we pick things up off the ground. Now, Po here from Kung Fu Panda is going to play the role of my baby Zachary. So this is what I observe how most people pick up their child. There. And then they lift from here and pick their child up. Say hello, Po. That is very, very inefficient, and if you do that over and over again, it's guaranteed that you will end up with back pain of some sort, which will affect your relationship with your child because you won't be able to pick them up. Now, this is how you need to pick up your child. The first thing to do is to bend your knees and drop down so your back stays in its neutral position. Now, I also don't want to pick Po up from here. He's too far away from me, which is going to add stress onto your lower back. I won't bore you with like the bar mechanics, but it's harder for me to pick him up from here than it is here. So I pick him up with my back straight, I place him on my chest, and then I use my leg muscles to power me up. Your legs are the strongest, most powerful muscles in your body. yet your brain seems to have no confidence in them, or your brain is just trying to save energy. Most of the people I've observed, it appears as though their brain doesn't have enough confidence in their legs, simply because their legs aren't used as appropriately as they should. So the brain doesn't understand how to pick the child up because you've been doing this for so long. It becomes a natural pattern. And again, it's easier, it saves energy, but easier is not better. Again, here, I pick up Zachary, hold him there, and I can use my left hand if I need to push up, and that is the most efficient way to pick your child up off the ground. Staying on the subject of children, when I hold Zachy, this is how we stand. Now we do this to kind of find our center of gravity, otherwise he would fall forward. So you lean back. When you lean back and carry a child, you place a tremendous amount of stress on your lower back. This is what I do with Zachy, and this is what's helped me not hurt my lower back when picking Zachy up, even though I have a history of chronic back pain. As soon as I lift Zachy up and I lean back, I lift my chest just a little so I'm not collapsed, and I brace my stomach in this extension back bend position. So what I mean by braced is, I imagine I'm wearing a corset which is wrapped around my lower back, and it's tightening, and it's not so tight that I cannot breathe, but it's tight enough that I'm aware that I have lower back support, and I can carry Zachy around for as long as I need to. When I put Zachy down to sleep, I bend my knees, bend my hips, and I am going to round, but I use my brace again to support my lower back, and I place him down, and then I just come to standing. If you change your physical behavior, and if you learn to pick your child up and put him down a certain way, you will reduce the stress on your lower back, you will improve the quality of your life, which means you improve the quality of your life in general. You can obviously apply that principle to anything. In any situation where you have to pick something up off the ground, you don't want to flex and pick up the item too far away from you. I would say if you have to take your hand further in front of the shoulder, you're adding additional stress on your body which you don't need. So bring it as close to you as you can. Try to keep your back straight. If it's very heavy, you can brace. So again, firm your stomach muscles. Imagine you're wearing a corset which is going to support and stabilize your spine. Get closer if you need to, pick that item up, whatever it is, and then come to standing. Basic physical behavioral changes will dramatically reduce the risk of lower back pain, and if you're suffering with lower back pain, if you apply these principles, you can fix your lower back. So behavioral changes, as well as strengthening your lower back and core muscles by doing the endurance-based exercises, this will fix your lower back pain. I am Zahir. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. The link is below. I am more than happy to help. And I guess I'll see you soon.